Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is JJ. Welcome to another Starcraft 1 vs 1 shoutcast. And what shoutcast this is going to be? It's going to be between MVP's Sniper in the bottom right corner and Axiom's AxRyung in the bottom left corner. If I pronounce that improperly, do excuse me. It's quite of a tongue twister for me. And I'm not sure how to exactly get over that tricky one. Anyway, this game is a final game between a series of games between Team Axiom and Team MVP, and both are playing as a part of Acer's TeamStoryCup tournament, the best tournament in Heart of the Swarm since Heart of the Swarm's release. And I mean every word I say about that, because that tournament, TeamStoryCup, has produced some of the most amazing, extraordinary and entertaining games there have been in Starcraft as of late. Now, big respect towards Acer for organizing this amazing event. Big respect to all the teams that are playing in this best of the best. And I do hope this game is going to live up to those ridiculously high expectations we have come to appreciate from that said Acer's TeamStoryCup tournament. Now, Sniper is going to play Zerg, as most of you have already noticed. Well, AxRyung, of course, is playing Terran. Also, the obvious now, the map. Newcake Precinct map with a lot of dead space and a rather, shall we say it, wide part of the middle map to here and here, but all in all divided quite rigidly in that middle, thanks to those Zelnaga towers that allow you to have a very powerful grip of control over this area and about both two main transit pathways between the left and right half of the map, one being here and one being, of course, here. It looks almost like Europe in the 80s with Iron Curtain in between with Berlin Wall. Now, this being the Berlin Wall and the fight is actually in Berlin. It actually sounds a far better analogy because it gives us the context. The context that it's here, now, and on the spot. Now, AxRyung has decided to opt for an early... what the hell, is it so slow? Oh my god, I slowed it down. Sorry so much. Now, AxRyung has decided to open up with a command center build instead of barracks, with Sniper delaying him considerably in an effective fashion. But to no avail, AxRyung has decided to start his command center on the high ground. That's the advantage of being a Terran, that you can just build command center inside your base and then fly it off into a happier place. And yeah, that's good about being Terran. Now, refinery added by AxRyung, so this is a pretty standard play when you opt for a very early command center with that risk of Zerg play. But he, of course, quite logically assumes that well, Zerg is not going to produce anything aggressive early, because it's Zerg, they just go for mass and macro sort of play, and right on the spot, if you actually think about decision making by AxRyung. He opts for expansion, so he's actually makes a trade. He trades his potential harassment with Reaper, this stage of the game, and later on with Hellions, I believe, for a possibility of a faster expansion and economic equality, more or less, in comparison to Zerg. Now, why is that good? Why is that good? Of course, second orbital command immediately before lifting off and landing in that location. It's something that lower quality players than good ones actually often do, and we can see AxRyung making a good use of that SCV, scouting inside the enemy base, knowing exactly what to expect, when to expect, and what is the level of enemy's technology. He notices that a hatchery is wiggling around, so that's a queen to be expected. And yes, we've got the first inject lava at about 450, so nothing surprising here when it comes to build orders and timings for the player that has opted to go for an early hatchery. Queen on the outside of the expansion as well, so double queen. Attack against those plays by the said queen, and if that game can get any more standard for the time being, well, I don't know what would make it. Reactor added to an excuse me, next to a factory, which in conclusion will just lift off, land here, and start producing of Hellions. Now, it's a good option. Let's see what the timing of Hellions. 30 seconds, and that reactor, well, has 20 seconds left, but already going into the position, and that's a good play. He's going to make out first Hellions in order to find an opportunity for that harassment, but I believe it might not actually be too successful, as Sniper is already looking forward to that situation and adding on four queens as to defend that ramp against the sort of Hellion play. And I believe that is going to actually succeed. Now, a Sniper knows that his enemy has gone for an early expansion and those Hellions are delayed in comparison to what he would normally expect. And we can see a double factory, so it will appear we might have some sort of mech option by rank. If that is the case, I can't wait to look at it, because mech option against the Zerg is by far, in my personal opinion, more interesting than the typical MMM option. Why is that so? Marauder Marine Medivac is of course good, is of course effective, it's of course boring like fuck. If you actually think about how many and how often do you see well, bio against the Zerg, and how often do you see something else entirely. That's a very sound and pretty reasonable comparison, in my opinion. A comparison that's going to perhaps showlight us a more exciting form of the game, as expected from Teams Acer's Story Cup tournament, the best of the best in absolute top spot position. Now, when it comes to upgrades, Sniper is a little behind when it comes to metabolic boosts, at least in my opinion. 8th minute for metabolic boosts is somewhat late, but I believe that a part of that is contributed mainly to this rather safe natural expansion and a ramp up that you can easily defend with several queens and zerglings, no matter how many, of course, with no ridiculous overstatement, Hellions might come in. Now, getting 4 queens is very good in that strategy, as we can see it allows you to make a very impressive creep spread at a very early stage of the game, before even the 9th minute mark. And the 3rd expansion already saturated and already stabilized for Sniper. This expansion is of course mainly for the purpose of having gas by the Zerg, which will be very precious as a resource for that Zerg play. Now 4 evolution chambers, that is a source of, how shall I put it, that's pretty extreme, if I've ever seen extreme. And those Hellions with such a big number might actually make the break and go in with the use of that heavy economy improvement. AxRyung might actually have what it takes to get in and make the best out of those evolution chambers. Now, those Zerglings don't stand a chance and won't make anything happen, and I believe those guys are going to get in pretty nice, pretty fast, and pretty damn now. And they are inside, they are already inside the base, but Sniper has managed to build up some quality, and oh my god, what was a money worth of bailings! Did you see that? That was like, it was a brilliant play, and another reason showing up why exactly having a scan up the ramp in a place like that worthwhile. Those additional evolution chambers gave Sniper just enough time to bring out bailings and bust those Hellions up to oblivion, and that were approximately 10 to 12 Hellions lost by sheer bombing and explosions from those bailings. And well, I've got to say that it was one of the best bailing usage I have had the pleasure and opportunity to see in a sort of a surprise motherfucker style. Amazing, exciting, and simply brilliant. And we can see that AxRyung has opted, has opted to make a switch towards a more standard, unfortunately, Marine Marauder Medivac count, which does disappoint me, but oh well, let's not get into details. 1 tech lab with barracks and 4 barracks with reactors will allow him for a rather steady and high level production of those marines for the time being. Now I believe that with taking that 3rd base and potentially 4th over here, he will opt to increase his production capabilities in the longer span of the game. A very interesting placing and positioning of that bunker, creating a great wall off, and in a situation of interesting use of an overseer to scout, and now Sniper, albeit for a cost of being supply blocked for a moment, but only for a moment, with 4 overseers added to the bill, knows what he's up against, and he knows that he's against a shitload of bio units, something to be expected actually, but it's always important and good to have it confirmed, because playing from observer's point of view is a very privileged and easy, but when you actually have to do that scouting and decisions based on what the hell is going on, you really need to scout, and that's the point of having those Mutalisks. Now, I believe they are going to do some sort of harassment, taking out this lone supply depot for our own reason. And are they going to take it out? Yes. Well, nice creep destruction by AxRyung. He managed to control this section of the map by taking out the creep, and he might actually stop Sniper's 4th base to coming to existence. Now, Sniper is making a big bet with that he actually can hold that base, and that's a nice spread by AxRyung, but those Marines are toast, dead and gone. If I've ever seen dead Marines, that's here. I believe that AxRyung is unable to take that expansion from his enemy, and that if he tries to commit at this stage of the game without necessary and pivotal upgrades like combat shields, excuse me for that, he might actually end up in a very bad spot, especially if he doesn't control the spread properly, with Banelings already being 2 and 2 upgraded, killing those Marines in a single instant and a dash. And a beautiful surround by Sniper manages to eliminate practically entire army of AxRyung, and he is paying the price for impatience. That was a simply bad decision by AxRyung. He is losing a lot of units. It might seem that the Zerg is at a disadvantage, but it is not exactly truthful, because Sniper has managed to secure his 4th base, which is absolutely necessary, pivotal and essential for Zerg player to have in this stage of the game, about 15-minute mark against a Terran player. Why is that so, you might ask? Why is it so important and emphasized? Well, Terran on 3 bases, they've got a tendency to hold out extremely well and make a great use of the money, being so cost efficient, especially with those level of upgrades. It just doesn't add up for Zerg to play on 3 bases, because it doesn't work that way. You need more. You need 4 in order to facilitate a high level of Mutalisk production and the continuous production of Banelings and Zerglings, which is the current fashion of playing this matchup. A fashion which is very well underlined in mechanics and fashion style of how to play. Now, I very enjoy how Sniper has added some overseas into his army. Unnecessary and very useful addition, due to the simple fact that those units can spot widow mines and prevent some unpleasant situations from happening. Now, Sniper is using this map to his advantage at an extreme rate and efficiency, because he is using the top part of the map as a transit path for his units in order to surround AxRyung's army and units in an uncomfortable engagement angle, which is producing heavy and impressive results. And now AxRyung is at the run for his money, as Sniper is advancing with his army, eliminating a lot of resistance on the ground force up to the wall at his 3rd base, a wall that many Zerg just crash about like a wave against the cliff. But as we all know, waves just keep pummeling at those cliffs, and in time they do wear off, and we're going to see if that's going to be the case in this game. And another big bailing investment by Sniper has actually managed to perfectly equalize the units lost tab, thanks to the beautiful round buys to the top part of the map, using those smoke vents in order to hide his units from any potential attack, and then eventing and going straight in when he needs to. A very good play by Sniper, who is nomen sniping off some of enemy's units with the great and intelligent use of Mutalisks that buy him necessary time in order to increase his unit count, add an infestation bit in order to take up to Hive, and then add in Ultralisks. 18 minutes for Hive Tech is, I believe that would be a good time in order to have it already. But if that's not the case, not having it and just investing in that option is a good call as well. Now, apparently Fortress has fallen. Sniper is using the top part of the map to his advantage yet again, prompting his enemy to play not in the fashion he's used to. AxRyung definitely would prefer an engagement in a smaller angle, in a tighter place. For instance, retreating from the Zelnaga tower up to here would be his preferable engagement. And as we have seen, as long as he was keeping a rather choke point line, he was doing it effectively. But the moment his enemy has run his by, actually make him run for his money and lose those fights with a forward conclusion of losing and planetary fortress. And let me remind you, those babies aren't cheap, planetary fortresses that is. And if Sniper manages to continue this play, stall his enemy, wait up, increase his unit count, block Terran engagement into developing a fourth forward base, up until he gets Ultralisk, and now Axiom needs to spread that army really good because he's losing so much. Oh my god, Jesus Christ on a stick. This is catastrophic. Axiom has lost so many of his units. Practically his entire army has been obliterated by those pesky banelings, and now Mutalisks have practically free reign over those leftovers and a handful of hero marines that, despite even the most heroic of actions, are unable to defend their positions. Now, you might think that it's again practically equal in units lost down, but it is not so, because Axiom is stuck on his tech. He's got 3-3. He won't invent anything more in this unit composition if he keeps it to the Orthodox style. And his enemy is opting for now. Well, that's a good option by Axiom. He started doing up some drops, but those drops are not as effective as he'd like to be. His enemy's got good upgrades, and he managed to clean it out. The fighting that he didn't like. Well, that was only a distraction, because now Axiom has, with a good run by, has managed to destroy this forward base, effectively taking Sniper down to 3 bases, but I'm beginning to fear it might have been a little too late in comparison to what he needed to achieve. Do take note that in this game we severely lacked any sort of drop play. Now, this Zergling is a moneyling if I've ever seen a moneyling before. He is just amazing, stopping a command center from landing, and finally Axiom will secure that base with a lot of Mutalisks inside his own main base, taking out this much needed refinery. Well, Sniper is playing this excellently, throwing his opponent out of balance, making Axiom play in an uncomfortable style and position style that he does not appreciate and enjoy. Again, taking those little advantages and building up a huge, gigantic, enormous and gargantuan gas reserve in order to get those Ultralisks in the later stage of the game. Ultralisks that are being started right now. Ultralisks that I believe might change the fate of the game from status quo that lasts for some time until resources are gone from the map, into a situation where Ultralisks simply run in, and it's like with Hulk smash, Hulk kill. Same deal with Ultralisks. Do note and take it into deep and important consideration that Sniper is not building and refilling his Mutalisk count that has been severely dwindled by Axiom's marine force attacks. Now, why is he doing so? He needs gas for Ultralisks that will come soon enough, and his stalling of his opponent still makes him lose a little more resources with more bases mining, so that's irrelevant from his point of view. He's got big gas reserve. He's already churning out those important frontal assault, heavy weight load killer Ultralisks, which I believe might turn the tide for his favor. Now, he doesn't go for more Mutalisks because he needs gas for Ultralisks, and he's doing exactly that. He tries to utilize those Mutalisks up to the very edge of their possible use. Another one lost, but it's no problem, no biggie. We can see that first Ultras are leaving the hatchery, and soon I believe Sniper will be in a perfect position to max his army out again, even adding adrenal glands. Amazing upgrades for late game Zerglings as long as you manage to keep them alive, and with Ultralisks being the main focus and churning out a lot of enemies' damage up to themselves, I believe that Zerglings will be in a great position to be the true damage dealers in this army. Now, a Sniper playing excellently, sniping out yet again a vulnerable target and doing exactly what he needs, which is stall, annoy, and make life miserable for Axiom as it is. Now, I believe that Axiom has spotted those Ultralisks. He knows about that, and he is probably very much concerned, because being an experienced Terran, he knows that he didn't manage to stop Zerg from getting a macro expansion growth and then increasing his economy. Now, this attack might be very brutal and extremely effective against Ryung, because Ryung lacks enough sufficient marauder count. Now those altruists are doing so much damage, they are just not dying, they are killing everything in their path. Kaiser Blaze working as intended, nothing stays alive. Oh my god, so sorry. This army has been obliterated by said Ultralists that are already slayers, butchers, monsters and killers. And what will be this conclusion of this game? I believe we are drawing to a climactic finale, with Ryung still holding up finally to that 4th base being created, and well, better, he really needs that. It's the exactly last possible moment of having it, because his 3rd and 2nd base are mined out, courtesy to Muse, who mines so much so fast. He doesn't have resources, and he needs that base, his actual and essential lifeline, in order to stay in the game, reproduce his army, which has substantially lost on numbers, and get back into the game. With army size being half of what enemy has, Sniper is playing it extremely long term, but very effective. Now, he is moving in his plan. Okay, so what's his mindset? Okay, what's his process? I block Terran from getting effective 4th base. Here is probably mined out at this point. I prove that a orbital command has flown here. I've got more bases, I've got a big bank, I'm maxed out, it's time to move out and make the hammer fall, because with Ultralists, Banelings, Infestors and, well, Banelings only, practically, he's got what it takes to close the deal, seal the deal, and make it happen. Mutalisks still being alive, that is also a big hands down and a tip of the hat towards Sniper, because that just shows you just how good that guy is with his units. He manages to control his units perfectly, and now Ultralists are just going to go in and bust the blocks that planetary fortress. Not a cheap structure, something extremely effective, and I believe Ryung is on the run, Ryung is on the defensive, Ryung has half the army the enemy has, and if he manages to actually make something happen out of this practically purely marine combination, which deal almost 0 damage to maximally upgraded armor Ultralists, well, no, unfortunately for Ryung, he just had nothing to go out of this situation, and now Ryung is just taking the fun, and Sniper's taking the fun and butchering all those structures and units. And that concludes Axiom versus MVP in Acer TeamStoryCup tournament playoffs, because this game was the last of the series, and being the last, there's a lot of at stake here, so kudos and tip of the hat yet again towards both Ryung for his excellent control of a Terran Bio Ball, albeit with not being able to do exactly what he wanted in this mindset, and even bigger tip of the hat towards, of course, a Sniper for extremely effective blocking of entire effort that enemy was doing and conducing, and then putting out his own advantage to the side. That takes no explanation. Furthermore, it was a brilliant play by Sniper, a very solid defense by Ryung, but in the end, without that 4th base earlier, he was unable to get on equal footing against his opponent, and that, in essence and in the end, has proven to be the fatal and killing blow in this game. And with that conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you farewell. JJ signing out, and I'll see you around next time.